Hey there, Tom. Flip anything. Not 100% prepared, but wasn't feeling very sleepy, so I thought I'd go ahead and do a little live thing. It's not as easy for me to do Wednesdays anymore. Uh, anyways, bear with me. I'm trying to get the laptop set up here so I can see what's going on. So we can talk about anything. Any questions you got? You want to talk about money made? You want to talk about residential deals, land? You want to talk about commercial? You want to talk about profits? Anything you're curious about? We'll talk about. Uh, all right. So. Uh, just about get that studio wrapped up here, and so I can, we'll talk about contracts a little bit. I always tell everybody, there are no rules. You can make your own rules. Uh, you can, people can own or carry. You can, if they're own or carry situation, there's more incentive to do that now than ever because, it used to be you could get 10% interest on your money in the bank, or even 5%. It's gone down over the years. Well, now it's less than 1% a year. So, it used to be people would be able to sell off the real estate, put their money in the bank, and they could live on the interest. Even if they had just a few $100,000, if you had $200,000 in the bank, back in the, I guess the late mid 70s, you get $20,000 a year on your 200 grand, and that's probably like $1 million now. But on $1 million, you get less than that. Now on $1 million, you get about 10 grand, and but on 200 grand, you would have got, you'd have got 20,000. One moment. Sorry, had to kill a bug because I knew it was going to be bothering us soon. uh, so, uh, I'll run through some deals and tell you guys about. If, some of you are. It seems like we're getting a lot of new folks on here. Hey, thanks, Sam. Glad you stopped in. Let's see, what do you got here? Well, you hold the title. Well, there's a couple things. The most common thing is, but they're the beneficiary. In other words, you hold the title but the title's encumbered with a note. When you borrow money from a bank. Who else we got here? Oh, hey, Fosh Zellen. I'm not sure how to say your name or your handle there, your username, but glad you're here. Okay, so we'll talk about owner carry. Because I did a lot of owner carry because, I started 19 years old. Guess what? That's all I could get was owner carried. No bank would loan me money, that's for sure. So I did a lot of owner carry in the beginning. And then it was tougher because really people wanted to get cash because they wanted to take their cash and put it in the bank and get 5-6% interest from the bank. So what I would have to do is I'd offer them 10% interest on the loan that they would basically, we'd create a note secured by their property. So in other words, you have the title, but you have a note that's due and payable to somebody else that's secured by that title. In other words, your title is the collateral. So you don't have clear title, but you have a title. And so just like when you borrow money from a bank, it's the same thing. If somebody owner carries, they're just being the bank. And I've carried millions of dollars in notes on properties that I've sold, and I've owed millions of dollars to people on that I've gotten them to carry notes. And then it was only when I got much more established where the banks almost wouldn't say no to me. I could borrow all I wanted. It really was. That's kind of how it was for a long time, and it's still easy for me. I can borrow money. More than I'm so conservative now. I can borrow more than I need, and so I just borrow what I want to borrow. But and of course that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. But when you're first starting out, you need to just, I mean, in my opinion, you want to flip. You want to flip. You want to take 10 grand and turn it into 20, turn 20 into 40, and you want to do it inside a couple of months every time you do a transaction. And I don't mind doing that, but you get to a level like where I'm at, it takes too much time for me to, concentrate on trying to flip and turn 10 into 20 or 20 into 40. I'm sorry. Let me see what you got. Oh, do I lend money? No, not really. It's not. Someday I might carry notes or something. I might buy notes. What I'll probably do is buy other people's loans. What I mean by that is, let's say somebody owner carries, they sell a piece of property and they owner carry a note for, 80 grand. You put 20 down and now you owe them 80, and you're paying them $80,000 on you owe them 80,000 and it's a 5% note. I'd be interested in buying that note from that person. I might offer them $60,000 and they'll give me that $80,000 note for $60,000. They get the cash, I get the note for $60,000, and then I make much greater than 5% on it now. That's would be my idea of a loan, but it's really not a loan. I would buy other loans because I want to get a loan at a discount and make more money on it. I could see doing that. Lending money, I do it as a courtesy. I do it as a friend. In all honesty, I borrow money. Believe it or not, to help people. And I'll tell you what I mean. I know people that have $100,000, $500,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. They're not what you call private lenders. They're not actively looking to loan money necessarily, but they want to get a return on their money. They can't get any return on their money that's in the bank. And so if I know people like that, I'll say, hey, I'll borrow $500,000 from you for 4%, and I can even get less than 4% from a bank. But I gotta jump through a little bit of hoops. I gotta get a title policy, and I gotta make them comfortable, and it costs a little bit of money to do that. And sometimes there's a point. So, but I'll take a flat if I can get 4%, or get a loan at 4%, and there's just a signature. I mean, I'll take it. And I've done lots of that, and I've done it actually for my own mother. I borrowed, $100,000 here and there, and it's not that I needed the $100,000; it's that she needed the income on her savings, and so I do that as a courtesy for her because 4% is competitive with what I'm going to borrow anyhow, but that's 4 times what she can get on her money that's in the bank anyway. So it's like a win-win. And if you got relatives like that, as long as you make a good investment, last thing you want to do is, get yourself in a pinch. I know a guy that cross-collateralized $5 million, and people stopped making payments to him, and he borrowed it from relatives, and he was really in a terrible upside-down situation, and it wasn't fun for him, and it stressed his family stuff, But I mean, me borrowing a few $100,000 like this from family, they're always going to I have plenty of money, so they're going to get paid back no matter what. But like I said, I borrow money as more of a favor than I do lend money. I don't really like loaning money, to be honest. It's not what I do. Anyways, so what do we got here? Foshazillin, that's selling. Thoughts on zero down investing? Well, too good to be true or common. I have a different take on that. Look, so zero down investing, I mean, that's something grandma or grandpa might do for you, okay? But in the real world, it's not going to happen except from a relative or a friend. And it can happen. If you can do it, great. But it does happen in another way. And I'll give you an example. If you look at my lake house deal, that's probably 40 videos back, when I bought the lake house. I actually went in to buy that, and I put, I don't know, $1,000 down, deposit when I did the contract, or 2,000 maybe, I don't remember now. But a guy that had loaned me $500,000, I happened to run into him, And I told him, I said, hey, you got any money burning a hole in your pocket? You know, I can borrow. And because I just asked, you know, because I borrowed money at a good rate from him, like 4%. And I've been paying him on that $500,000 I borrowed from him last time, and I'm paying him at a very accelerated rate. I like to get rid of my loans, you know, I like to pay things off quick. And he says, no, I really don't have any money. And I go, oh, okay. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I probably don't even have 100,000. I said, oh. I go, well, I only need 80. And he said, oh, I got 80, no problem. Come by later today. And he wrote me a check. And so I bought the lake house 100% financed. So is that zero down? I mean, it's pretty much zero out of my pocket, 100% financed. So again, is it common? No. You know, here's the deal. If you can get good terms like that, if you can get some great terms and pass them on, that's very good. And I've done it. I had a restaurant. I got $750,000 loan at, God, I want to say 3% or something. I mean, the mortgage was $2,100 a month on a $700,000 loan. So it must have been about 3% roughly. And so when I sold it, I got a lot more money for my deal because I explained what a great deal, all the money they were going to save on the interest on the first that they assumed from me. So I had this great loan in place, and I said, yeah, you can pay me a little more for this deal because you're going to make up for it on the very low interest rate that I negotiated on the first that you get to assume. So you can do things like that too. But the bottom line is zero down. Like I said, I can't remember ever having zero down unless if you want to consider that you maybe take a partner in and he puts the money down and now you buy it together and no money out of your pocket, you just found the deal. You could call that zero down. It's zero down for you. But the idea that somebody's going to say, here, just make payments, it's very, very, very unlikely. And it can happen, for sure it can happen, because anything can happen. Like I say, there's no rules. But you're not going to be taken very seriously as a buyer if what you're offering is zero down. So the best thing that can happen is if you can find a property that's under market, you know, like 30-40% under market, you just want to do whatever you got to do to close the deal. If they'll take $10,000 down and carry a note, do it. Whatever they want, just accept it, because your money's going to be made on that deal. So you can go borrow 10 grand from somebody. Even if you don't have any friends, you can go borrow 10 grand from somebody on a deal that is that good. You know, you can just explain it to somebody that's in the business, and they'll say, okay, I'll charge you 15% interest. And it would be worth it to you to pay that because of the offer, because of what you got, you know, in your hands. You got this fantastic deal. So those are the things you can do, and you will make friends that are business associates in time. You know, there was a guy named Pangborn. I won't say his first name. It's kind of an unusual name, but he loaned money, and I found out somebody I did some work for on a house or something, and I borrowed $30,000 from him several times and bought other property, and it was nice. He charged me a decent interest rate. I think he charged me 1.2, and you know, yeah, that's kind of what he did for money. So what else we got here? You know, entering commercial, it's really the same as with anything. You just have to know value. You have to know what things are worth. It doesn't matter if it's land or commercial or multifamily or industrial. It really doesn't matter. You just have to know what the thing is worth when you make your deal, so that you know that there's room, margin for a profit, so that you can flip it to somebody else or assign it to somebody else, and it'll be worth it to them to give you a chunk of money to take your position. Yeah, you're not going to find stuff in the MLS. I mean, I've made some really good deals on stuff that's in the MLS, but usually, you know, there's enough people watching that, you know, you got to you almost have to make your deal within the first hour of that thing being listed before anybody else strikes. And it happens, I'll tell you how sometimes it happens is, you know, an agent gets a listing, and the person that they're doing the listing for thinks they put it on the MLS, but what they're doing is they're holding it in office. They haven't put it on the MLS, they're just kind of circulating it in the office with everybody that's within their office. Uh, so the office will, have first shot at making the most money before they put it out in the MLS. So what can happen is they'll keep it in office. Nobody really makes anything happen within the office. Then me or somebody like me comes along and I make an offer, and now the seller, they think, oh, well, it's been on the market for a week, and this is the first guy that makes an offer. Let's just go ahead and take it. Well, the fact is it hadn't really hit the MLS yet, and maybe they don't know it. And it's because they kept the listing in-house. So that can happen for sure. Let's see. If you only have 5K to start with, is it really hard to get started? No, that's a lot. You're fine. You can start with 0. It's all about the deal. But if you got 5K, then you can put $1,000 down deposit, and the people aren't going to think you're a flake. They're going to think you, oh yeah, no, this guy's real. He's putting some real money out. Nah, I don't know where you get the idea you got to save 15K. It doesn't matter. I mean, 5K, and believe me, like I say, you can buy and sell other things. I bought this old fire truck and made 20 grand, and other little items that make 5 grand, 10 grand here and there. So you've got those things too at your disposal, and that's a whole lot easier than actually buying a piece of real estate. If you just pay for it and it's yours, then sell it, and cash is yours. So, it doesn't matter. You can wholesale. When you say wholesale, I'm getting a little bit lost in this wholesaling. It's not a term that I used to use, but I guess what that means to some people is you tie up a property with 0 down, and then you assign that deal to somebody else to buy, and then they close the deal. Yeah, I don't believe in 0 down. I think you really need to, contract flipping to me, that's just assigning a contract. And I've been doing that for, 35, 36 years. Not 0 down? Okay. Well, yeah, whatever. You're basically flipping. Or maybe not flipping because you're not closing it, you're assigning. So to me, my lingo on that is I assign contracts. I just assign my position. And a lot of times, you don't even have to do it, but a lot of times you can write, Tom and or assignee. And then you get in the deal, and then somebody gives you 5-10 grand, and you assign the contract to them, and now they're going to close it or not. I've assigned a contract to somebody before for 10 grand. They gave me 10 grand, and I let them have my position, and then they never closed the deal. They got cold feet and they didn't buy it. And then I found out they didn't buy it, and then I took it back and I bought it. So I made 10 grand for nothing, or for not really doing anything. Okay. Can you explain if you had 5K cash, you find a deal, put $1,000 earnest money, then you find a buyer? Can you walk me through the process step by step? Sure, I can do that. That's easy. I've done it. Do you have a template for assignment? That's a good question, actually. I'm going to put something together like that, Fosh Dillon. I've done several assignments like that, but yeah, well, you want to be careful. Either way, you want to be careful how you write your assignments. So I know you can get stuff like that on the web, but it doesn't mean it's done right. So you got to be careful. You want to make sure you're covered. Like I said, I assigned somebody a contract, and they never closed it, and I got their 10 grand. Now, if you don't have an assignment contract written properly, you may be it may be written as such you have to give them that $10,000 back, and you don't want to do that either, right? So you got to be careful how you what you grab off the web. Ultimately, and believe me, I don't ever feel like I need a lawyer to look at anything for me when it comes to contracts. I'm pretty good. I know what to do. I read through them. I write my own all the time. I don't have all the legalese, but it's clear what the intentions are, and that's what matters. So, but yeah, it's find a template, but don't assume everything's covered in it. You can do that. So, real quick, $5,000 scenario. If I'm just imagining myself, okay, you know, having $5,000 and I have a job. Not a great job, let's say, but I'm getting by. I'm going to look for properties that are for sale. I'm going to know the values. You know, anything that, let's just say, at $5,000, I'm probably going to be looking at buying properties that are under $100,000. I'm going to try to tie something up. Say I got something for $70,000, and you know, it's worth $100,000, but I'm buying it for $70,000. So I'm going to put $1,000 down, and I'm going to agree to close this deal within 60 days. And but I'm going to say I have a 30 days to accept or reject the property for any reason, you know, conditions of the property, or if, whether or not the title report is satisfactory to me. I have 20 days to review the title report. So, you know, we go in, I think it's worth $100,000, I'm agreeing to buy it for $70,000. You know, we've got the clock started, the time's going. Let's say I need 10 grand to close it, but I only have 5, right? So immediately I'm going to go find somebody that's in the market, or I might even call an agent in the neighborhood that has houses for sale, and say, hey, I'm sure you have some buyers that have been looking at your properties. I've got a good deal here tied up. I can assign it to somebody, and maybe we can both make some money. You know, you can take that approach, or you know, really, if you, once you get in the business and you look around, especially if you go in and you start looking at property records, you'll start to identify people in the neighborhood that own multiple properties in a neighborhood. Like, you know, you used to see my name all over the neighborhood because I own so much. And even like, you know, when these guys that are sending out these letters, you know, direct mail, and I've done that before too. And when I do direct mail, if I see somebody that owns a lot of properties in the same area, I might make a separate mailing for them than I do with everybody else, because or if I identify some of the names in the neighborhood when I go to send out, you know, a bunch of letters to a neighborhood, I don't want to send them to a real estate agent, because my fear is if I send them to a real estate agent, the agent's going to go, oh God, I got to get busy and send out my farm letters. Farm letters meaning, you know, they're looking for prospects, looking for people they can, you know, talk into you know, listing with them. And so I don't want my letter to go to a realtor to serve as a reminder for them to go back and contact somebody in that neighborhood that I might already be trying to make a deal with, to screw it up by promising them, you know, a much higher price. So things like that you got to be careful with. But that's it. The $5,000 is just going to be relative to your comfort level and what you can tie up, and what you you know, are comfortable risking. You know, and it's all relative to your money, right? You know, but when you really know what something's worth, you'll risk the whole $5,000. If you know something's worth, you know, $50,000 more than you're paying for it, and you're only paying $50,000 for it, you know, it's a pretty safe bet. And but you can always give yourself pretty easily 20 to 30 days to get out of it by saying, well, I got to know that you know, I'm satisfied with the title report and all the easements and encumbrances and anything that might come up. And if you make it broad enough that you can turn it down for just about any reason, then worst case, if you don't have the money and you can't find anybody, you can walk away and you can get your deposit back. But hopefully you would never have to do that. You just make a deal. All right, so let me get to these other questions. Let's see. I'm a newbie trying to get started, don't have a ton of money to play with. Well, that's okay. Tom, what business are you currently doing now, and what market are you in? Well, Sam, if you watch my most recent videos, you'll see I just bought something called the 3-day deal. And basically, I've got about 400 grand sitting in this one bank account, or I had, not now. And I've been trying to buy that. I've been trying to buy something commercial for, you know, $1 million to $2 million, that I'm having a hard time finding a good enough deal. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's overpriced that I won't pay that much for, and so it's really tough for me to find, you know, commercial, industrial, office, you know, rental income properties that are priced at a rate that I can make a deal on. I've been trying to make deals, but it's not happening. So while I'm doing that, I'm also looking at the neighborhoods near my office and neighborhoods near my home, and that's where I found the 3-day deal. And so I made a deal. I paid $160,000 cash, And so I took that instead of the 400,000 I've had sitting there waiting to put down on a bigger property. I kind of give up and say, well, I can't find anything, so I'll just go ahead and take 160 grand out of this 400, and I bought that thing. I paid cash for that, and I probably spent $40,000 since fixing the place up, and now I'll flip it, and I'll probably turn that 160,000 deal. I'll probably end up having roughly 200,000 in it, and maybe I'll sell it for 270 or 300,000. And now I have 300, or actually now that 300 goes back in the bank, and now I have 500. So, in other words, I keep my money working for me, and like I say, even if you have $5,000 or $6,000, hey, comb Craigslist, you know, buy a fire truck, buy a backhoe, buy something that's worth, you know, buy something for pennies on the dollar that you can resell for more, and just keep your money working for you. You know, it doesn't always have to be real estate. Just keep your money working for you. And if you're in that $5,000, $10,000, I mean, there's all kinds of hardware and stuff you can play with like that can be even more lucrative than real estate, because you can just buy and flip much quicker. And then when you got, you know, maybe when you got 50, 80, 100 grand in the bank, you'll be doing, you know, $500,000 deals and tying up with $50,000. So those are the things that I do, and you know, I kind of play with the money that I've got on hand. Let's see. So does the assignment include the terms 30 to review and 60 days to close? No. When you assign it, you're assigning the contract that you've made. So I make a contract with somebody that says, I'm going to close this deal in 60 days, and I have 30 days to satisfy myself with the property, and at the end of that 30 days, my $1,000 or $2,000 earnest money is now non-refundable. A lot of times I make things non-refundable to just demonstrate that I'm serious and I'm going to close this deal. So I'll make things non-refundable. So let's just say I buy something 60 days with a 30-day look. I will say I look or 30-day, you know, contingency period to examine the property. Well, that's the contract, and that time started when you made it. So the guy that's going to assume the contract, you're just going to write a deal with him saying, hey, I'm assigning my position to you in this contract for $5,000. And then you go down to the title office and you explain to the title office, say, yeah, we need to create an assignment, and they bring it to you, and they say you both sign the assignment. He gives you your $5,000 and you're done, or your $10,000, whatever it is, and now you're done. He's now accepted that contract as his, and even though you started with 30 days, you might be 10 days into it. Now he's got only 20 days left, but he's already got 10 grand invested. He ain't never going to see back because he gave it to you, and you're not the seller. You're just the middleman, and that's a good place to be. So now he's going to either sink or swim. He's going to buy it or not, and he's probably going to buy it. But like I said, I've done that before and had people not buy it, and you know, they don't come back and ask me for my money. They know they wouldn't get it because they threw the deal away. You know. So let's see what else we got here. Hey Tom, I hope it's not too much to ask, but in your experience, which state is the best for real estate? You know what, the one you live in, it doesn't matter, it really doesn't. It's relative. You can be in an area that's depressed, you just don't have as much competition in that area. You can be in an area that's the hottest area there is. Yeah, you have more competition, but you got a lot more cash in that town too. And that's the town I'm in now. And I don't like to talk about where I'm at, it doesn't matter, because I operate in a few different states, but that's because I spend time in different states. But for the most part, you just want to concentrate on where you live and where you work, because then you got your finger on the pulse of the market in that little area that you're in, and you'll make much better decisions, and you'll know the people, you'll know the market, and that's what you want to do. And you'll be very, very successful if you concentrate on that. In fact, like I say, I mean, I got property every which way, all around me, everywhere, every direction. So, let's see. Yeah, there is a gold mine out there everywhere. That's the truth. There really is. It's just where you live. You just got to take time and look around and find it for sure. How do you make money in a hot market? It does the same way. Doesn't matter if the market's hot or slow. It's all relative. You're buying. If you buy like me, you buy under market, And I got to get a little auxiliary power here for the phone. Bear with me. Okay, I think we're good. All right, we got some juice again. So it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You can make a fortune in a slow-moving area because you'll be the only game in town. You won't have much competition, and that's a beautiful thing, actually. In fact, you can sometimes, if you concentrate on an area that's a little bit out of town, it's a little quieter. But you also find there's people out there just making millions too because they're smart. They know there's no competition out there, so you can do it anywhere. Is my point. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm mentoring you right now. Yeah, the question was, do I actually mentor? Yeah, this is how I mentor. I mentor groups of people that watch my video, and I answer questions like this. I don't do any one-on-one. I don't do any, once in a while I might help somebody if they email me, but I try, to be honest, I prefer all the questions come through here, and I share everything I know here because I'm trying to help most people I can, and I like to do it on tape because then it's there forever for anybody that wants to come back and reflect on it. Well, you can flip it on Craigslist again. The question is, if I got a good deal on a welder on Craigslist, where do I try to flip it? Well, the beauty of buying and selling, and everybody listen to this, the beauty of buying and selling on Craigslist is regional. Okay, it's your immediate area. Not everybody's set up. They're not going to ship it to wherever you want, something shipped. And so, most people don't go, I live in California and I'm going to go search the Craigslist in Houston, because people just want you to come pick it up. In Craigslist, you usually advertise stuff you want people just to come pick up. And so, I bought I made some great deals on tools. In fact, I bought a beautiful Miller wire feed, very big, beautiful TIG welder and wire feed. And so, you can find great deals on there for sure. But you could either put it back for sale on Craigslist, or you could put it for sale on eBay if you're willing to ship and mess with that type of thing, put it on a pallet. All right. Yeah, I'm still here. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. Yeah, I see something happened to our signal. Okay, we're back. Fortunately, I'm monitoring on a laptop in front of me, and looks like we got disconnected. So hopefully everybody's back online here. So everybody see me? I think you do. I'm reading the questions, folks. So, hey Tom, if I get a house title changed to my name, will I inherit the equity? I don't know what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, I don't know what you mean on that. AZ1 attic. I don't understand the question. If properties are just all overpriced, do you just sit on your cash and wait, or do you spend your... there's always a deal. If you find, you'll always find a deal. Yeah, I don't know what... I'm going to go back to AZ1 attic. AZ1 attic. Look, your equity is the difference of what you paid and what a property's worth. So if somebody gives you a property, or you assume a property that has a loan, whatever the difference is between what you owe and what the property's worth, there's your equity. So, everything I buy, the day I buy it, there's equity because I buy everything under market that I buy or I don't buy. So I hope that answers your question. If properties are all just overpriced due to hot market, they're not necessarily overpriced, but it's hard to, when you see things jump up, it's hard to believe they maybe are going to stay that way. And I've seen things come way down, go way up, and come way down. I've seen it. So, and I'm getting rid of a couple houses right now because I think they've peaked. So, do I think the market's going to crash? Not necessarily, but I think that it's so close to the peak on these properties that it's a great time to sell it. If the market does crash, then all the better, because I'll have cash, the market will be down, and then I can buy stuff cheaper, which would be great. I kind of hope that does happen after I make some sales. So, investing in vacant land. The question is, how does investing in vacant land work? It's the same as anything else. You research it and figure out what it's worth, and then you buy it for less. And it doesn't matter if it's a house, commercial, multifamily. You got to do your due diligence and figure out what things are worth. And it doesn't matter. That's kind of the same no matter what I buy. Do I do business with my fans? No, not really. I have never. I'm happy to share. I've had, one person brought me something that looked kind of interesting at first. As I looked at it, it wasn't that interesting, but at first I thought, hey, I'll buy that. And, so I'm not opposed. If somebody has something that's a fantastic deal, I'm not going to be your partner, but you could probably assign me something if it's a good deal. But chances are, if you're out of state, I'm not going to mess with it. But it's not impossible. Okay, I'm in Portland, Oregon, and the market is pretty hot. Lots of overpriced properties and lots of development. Yeah. Doesn't matter. So if you just got to find out what something sells for and buy it for less. Believe me, even in the hottest market, people have reasons for selling below market, and they do. You have a big investor base looking for financing at a very high rate. Well, sounds like a loan shark. There's a lot of those. So just make sure you buy something with a lot of profit if you're going to do that. Okay, hey Tom, what do you think about the stock market? I don't touch it. My stock is on my shelves. I don't invest in the stock market. I've had some opportunities, and I've seen some big money. I could have bought American Airlines, I don't know, for like $1.20. It went up to 50 a share. It didn't take very long for that to happen, and I got a tip to do it. But you know what? It's not my game. But I wish I'd have thrown $100 grand in there because it would have been $5 million. But very rare. I would never advise anybody to invest in the stock market. It's just too volatile. So I wouldn't touch it. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the main thing is you just got to get started, and just start small, start within your means. And I think about just being a kid. I used to have a little metal Sucrets box that I kept my money in. I remember I had $5.10 in there. That's probably where I peaked. And what I was doing is I was buying a box of 24 suckers, lollipops, that would sell for, I don't know, probably 5 cents a piece at the store. There was like a little mini market or something I'd go to, but they would sell me a whole box of them for like $1.10, I think, for 20 of them. So I was buying them for a nickel a piece, and they were selling them for 10 a piece. But I'd go to my school, and I would sell them for as much as I could get. I'd sell them for $0.25 a piece. And fortunately, at my school, even though I was in 3rd grade at that time, for whatever reason, we were commingled with a high school. So the high schoolers, they were rich, right? They had quarters. And so I would hit up the high school and say, hey, you want to buy a sucker? Want to buy a sucker? And they'd say, how much? And I'd say 25 cents. And some, okay. And some would be, oh, man, that's too much. Because they know they could buy them for, 10. But they'd give me, 20 cents or whatever. Yeah. But it was the same principle of what I do today. I was just doing it with candy when I was a kid. And then I found cinnamon toothpicks. I started making cinnamon toothpicks. I could make 1,000 cinnamon toothpicks for about $1. And I'd sell those things for anywhere from 10 cents to 50 cents a piece. So, it's what the market will bear, right? And that's what I would do. Yeah, Sammy, my advice, young real estate investor, is watch my channel, watch every video I've made, and listen to the questions that other people ask, and it's like anything else. You kind of immerse yourself in this stuff and watch other people like me or people that you might find on the web you know, and that keep you motivated, and that you trust, and that you know that you believe. And I think that's a good place to start. Uh, okay, how would you seek out a legitimate local investor as a mentor? You know, I wouldn't. I don't need it. Uh, yeah, nobody wants to mentor you. I'm just telling you, nobody really. You know, I do this because I'm already there. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about anybody stepping on my toes. I've got enough. But I'm also doing this because I'm creating a video blog that my boys, I have twin boys, 14, and I have older kids too. They get to watch this stuff. And they already know I'm neck deep in real estate all the time because they've been dragged around all my rentals with me forever, since they were born. So, so I have, I have the motivation for doing this for the benefit of my kids, and at the same time, I appreciate the feedback. I know this is all valuable feedback, the stuff that we're doing right now, answering questions. Other people see it, they get the benefit of it too. But yeah, like I said, nobody. It's a pain. Nobody can do it. I mean, what you're getting from me in these videos is exactly what I would tell you face to face. That's why I say there's no loss in just watching my videos. A, they're free. If you don't like it, you can tune it out. You know what I mean? And for me, I'm talking to you all as if I was talking to my boys, my kids. So they get it too. And when they get interested, they're not all that interested right now, but they're very young. But I can't emphasize enough, you don't need, when you think you need a mentor and that sort of thing, you may fall victim to, paying big bucks for a seminar that you don't need, and, if it keeps you motivated, great, but really I think you can draw enough motivation by watching videos like mine, and you can certainly get all the experience, and you can see that it's possible, you know what I mean? So you just do what you got to do to keep yourself. You just do what you got to do to keep yourself motivated. Like I said, I read books, and I would read a book, and I'd be bored. Sometimes I'm reading, and I'm not even paying attention. And then all of a sudden, I start paying attention because all of a sudden I'm reading something that's valid to me, that works for me, and. So, it's a sacrifice. You got to sacrifice your time, and you got to really, one of the best things you can do is you just, like I said, a mentor can't take you by the hand and walk you around the neighborhood. He can only kind of tell you what to do. You need to call on those real estate signs. You need to network, talk to agents, be friendly, be nice. And, agents are a good way to learn. You can learn a little bit about the market. They can share good information with you. And you might bird dog some property that you're trying to make a good deal on, and you can't make a good deal on it. So what do? You give up. I can't make a deal on this property. They want too much. So then you refer that person to one of your realtor friends, or you refer your realtor friends to this prospect, and you just say, hey, look, I got a deal. I can't make a deal with this guy, but you could probably make a deal to list it and sell it for him. And so then you do that for that person. And then they get the listing, they sell it, they make money, and then they appreciate you that you thought of them. And then when they have a deal fall in their lap, they'll contact you first as a way to repay you and say, hey, I got something, you want to make an offer on it? And then, that's the way to do it. That's what I do. Okay, yeah, I understand. I have to get started, but I know there's a lot of details that I may be overlooking. Listen. Not really, because you don't know anything really right now. So what you really need to do right now is you need to know what values are. That's what you need to know. You need to know what values are. And so there really isn't a lot of details. You need to start calling on properties that are for sale, agents have listed, find out what they sell for, get an idea what real estate is worth. Because until you know what real estate's worth, you're totally ill-prepared to make a deal. You have to know what values are of whatever it is you're looking at, whether it's houses, commercial, land, offices, whatever. You have to know what they're worth. And you have to understand and know what they're worth. And the only way you're going to know that is to call on them, talk to the agents. You got to look at the square footage. You got to look at the price, know what they, so you can figure out how much the things are selling for per foot. Know the neighborhood. Maybe the yards are bigger one place or another. Maybe there's more amenities in a neighborhood. Maybe there's a park they can walk to that's close by, which could be very valuable compared to a place that has no park. You know, so that's the thing. You don't really. It's less about having a mentor, and it's more just building your knowledge base on real estate that's in your immediate area, because you are like a fish out of water. If you don't know what values are, if you don't know what things are worth, you can never make a good decision. And then you might have an opportunity fall in your lap, and you're going, you don't know what to do, and you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it because you don't know. You got to strike when you know something's a great deal. So that's the thing you got to do. Number one, you have to pay the price. You have to pay your dues, and you have to call on every property, call on every rental sunset. You know, just you want to talk to people and see what things are worth and what kind of deal you can make on things. And then when you get an average, of what things are worth, then you'll know when somebody says, "Yeah, I'll take this," and it's under market. You say, "Okay, I'll buy it." It's that simple. And as far as thinking you got to know all these details, just remember this. Look, when you buy a car, I mean, you got to go to the DMV, right? The Department of Motor Vehicles. Because you can't even sell a car, really, because everything's got to go through the DMV. Well, that's what a title company is. Title company is like the DMV of real estate. You have to go through them to get the title, right? And same thing, there's going to be encumbrances, there's going to be, money owed, lien holders, and that sort of thing. Banks, basically, that have loaned money. And it's the same thing, but just a little different department. So people do that. They assume there's much more to it than there is, and then they scare themselves away from it. They think, oh, there's all these details I need to know. Well, who told you that? Who told you need to know all these details? I didn't. It's not that big a deal. You know, you need to know what values are, and you'll get that by studying real estate. That's the main thing. So I am finally starting to get tired, so I'm going to cut out of here, man. It's almost midnight, and I'm finally getting tired. So I'm going to call it a night, guys and gals. And I appreciate you guys watching and asking questions. And have a great night. And in the morning, man, make a list. You know, the main thing is just tell yourself, I got to be worth more next week than I am today. I have to be worth more. So you need to condition yourself to save money. So you'll be worth more next week than you are today. If you save a little money, you'll be worth more next week than you are today. If you take some of that money and you buy something that's a deal and you flip it, you're going to have more seed capital. You're going to be worth more next week than you are today. You always keep track of yourself. Keep track of your net worth. Know that you're growing. You know, I mean, keep an eye on your debt too. I mean, I know people, man, they run their credit cards up, and every 10 years, their credit cards are 30 grand or 50 grand, and then their house went up 50 grand, and guess what they do? They refinance their home, take that equity out of their home, and pay off all this crap debt that they've accumulated. And don't let that be you. It's a total waste of your money. You don't want that to be you. And so you have to live within your means. And a lot of times a credit card, people don't recognize that it's debt, and they keep every month they go a little bit more in debt, and they're they're basically just taking equity out of their, they're not worth more, they're worth less every week because they're buying crap that depreciates and going in debt. So just keep that in mind. No, Fosh Zillen, the number one thing is know values. You have to know what property values are. That's the number one thing. Understand real estate. Doesn't matter. Don't even think about buying anything until you know what values are. So concentrate on properties in your neighborhood. Figure out what stuff's worth. Because until you figure out what stuff's worth, there's no reason to look at listings. There's no reason to make calls, because you're going to make a call. I mean, you can make a call and ask about properties that have sold, and stuff that's for sale. How much, But in the end, you don't want to make cold calls to try to make a deal to buy something if you don't know what it's worth. You know what I mean? Because people are going to say, how much you give me for it? And you're going to be like, oh shit, I don't know. And that's not where you want to be. Yeah, ideally, you want to get them to tell you how much they're willing to sell it for. But you need to know that as soon as they utter that price, you need to go, I'll take it. Or you need to go, that's too much, but I'll give you this amount. So that's why it's so important. If you don't know what values are worth, you're wasting your time approaching a seller. You're wasting your time. You have to know what values are. And you can you can contact agents and stuff and find out what they're asking for properties and find out what's sold. You can find out from them what comps are, and they'll share that information with you in general, and you'll figure it out anyways. But that's what's going on, guys. I got to go to sleep. I'm getting tired. But Flip Anything USA, please like this video. We got a lot of people watching here, and there's only 3 likes or thumbs up. But anyways, I'm always amazed. Sometimes I get a lot of people, and I got all these contacts. I'm thinking, hey man, while you're here, why didn't you like the video? So anyways, I'm gonna call it a night, guys. But thanks a lot for watching, and we'll do it again more often, and we'll keep it going. So Flip Anything USA, please share, subscribe, and like. Thanks.